Hi, I'm Ashley McLeod, the owner of Jasmine Hair Inc. and the creator of the Wash and Wear Relaxer. I grew up in Trinidad, where all I saw in my mom's salon was burning scalps, grease, and pressing comb. And that is why we created the Wash and Wear Relaxer. This class is about hair analysis and relaxing by degrees. Watch us work here. Enjoy. We're going to begin our class today with a little product knowledge. Because of the basic structure of black hair, it's impossible for it to absorb water because of the many cuticle layers. And the key to healthy hair is moisture balance. To create moisture balance, we must be able to lock that moisture in. And because black hair has double or even triple the amount of cuticle layers, that can be very challenging. So why we created the Wash and Wear Relaxer was not only to loosen the curvature of the curl where the hair breaks, but also to allow it to absorb water. So today I want you to forget everything you know about relaxers and be aware this is not a texturizer. This is a technique that we've been doing and perfecting for the last 25 years. We will be checking the cuticle layers, the diameter of the hair, and then we'll make a decision on how loose that hair should be. There are three types of shampoos. There are shampoos that cling to the hair. We call them positively charged shampoos or cationic. And then there are negatively charged shampoos that repel and pull dirt out. There's also an antifungus shampoo which is used basically for the scalp. And that can be dangerous if it touches chemically processed hair. There are three types of conditioners. There are humectants that attract moisture from the air, and there are anti-humectants that repel moisture from the air. There are also protein conditioners which fill in negative sites. Proteins can be put into the humectants, and they can also be put into the anti-humectants conditioners. Proteins fill in negative sites. And we created a protein not from keratin, but from collagen. We also hydrolyzed that protein, so making it small enough so that it can get into the negative sites. So you can use an egg, you can use meat, but the protein's molecules are too large to get in. So by hydrolyzing it, it gets into those negative sites. But our hair is also negative. So we had to quaternize that protein, give it a positive electrical charge. So not only does it get into the hair shaft, but it clings there and seals that cuticle layer, leaving a nice, clean, tight cuticle. Releasing hair by degrees is not a texturizer. When you do a texturizer, you comb the relaxer through the hair, not getting full coverage around the strands. It's crucial to get full coverage around each strand so that the cuticles are evenly swollen and evenly released. It's dangerous just to release some of the cuticles and not all of them. So this is our model slash client, and she'll be having her retouch today. We're going to look at some of the open cuticles. As you can see, we showed it to you dry, and here's it wet. You can see where the hair is a little bit limper. That means the cuticles were torn probably about a year ago. That's about a year's growth. And if you look closely, you will see her regrowth. So her regrowth is right about here. And we're going to start our touch-up. It has to be a light application because the hair is extremely fine and extremely delicate. Claudette is going to start her relaxer below the occipital and move her way up and down. She's going to be doing a light application. when you're testing, you pull, and it's usually best just to use 2 strands. How do you want to hold this up for me? This is where you started, right? So you always go back to where you started and pull on it, 2 strands. You can wipe the relaxer off and check your curl pattern. See, it's getting too straight right there. It's matching up to the other curl. So this is ready to come off right now. See, you just pull on it. But if you take a bunch of hair, you're not going to be able to tell. So it's best to take 2 strands, a whole bunch of hair. See, look at it, it's perfect. Now it's matching up to the other relaxer. Excellent. So it has a nice texture. This looks too straight, but it's the weight of the relaxer. If you remove the relaxer and pull on it, you can see where you're going and matching up to the last texture. Excellent. This is my model, Olga. She's actually 10% black, but she feels her hair is 100% black. So we're gonna give it a go. She's having a retouch today on her roots. And how long you been having this done?
30 years.
Almost 30 years she's been having the release relaxer. And she comes from out of town. We always do the relaxer before the color. 3 to 5 days before color, we do our relaxer. So looking at it, it's difficult to see the regrowth because it's all picked out. So what we're going to do first is wet it all down and then bring her back so you can see the regrowth. And since we have her here, we should check her open cuticles also, since she's also been on lockdown. And we don't need a whiteboard to show you. She also has about 4 months of healthy cuticles, and obviously she's been either wearing a hat or a helmet or a head tie. So I'm going to measure it. It's about 5 inches of healthy hair. That means it's about approximately 9 months to a year of healthy hair. Let's check the nape. Definitely the same, like she's been wearing a hat because this is only 3 inches of healthy hair. or it could be a sleeping cap. I'm going to check the crown now. Oops. Pulling the hair straight up, tilt her over. So this is 5 inches. So it means it's random in different places. So it's for different reasons it got torn, or it could be she just didn't get a haircut for a long time and it's just shedding down the shaft. See, we have short, medium, long. So we must talk Olga into having a haircut. So we have wet her hair down to remove any product buildup with the anionic cleansing shampoo. We're going to look at her new growth. We can see her new growth is right about there. This is where her release was, and this is her new growth. Claudette will be applying it. She'll be eyeballing it and only doing the areas that are needed. If you look at her nape needs it just a teeny bit or not at all. So Claudette does it sometimes, and sometimes she doesn't do it. Keep in mind, if she goes close to the scalp, this will straighten quicker than this, because keratin does get harder as it grows out of the scalp. You'll see a light application, and as she moves through the head, she's going to look at the spots. I'll tilt her head forward so you can see some areas she will not do at all because it doesn't need it. She will do the sides. As you can see, they're a little bit frizzy and coilier in here, and she will do a little on the hairline. However, Olga just told me she does not like the crown going too flat. So sometimes she doesn't want even the hairline done in the front. So that's up to her stylist today, her technician, how she's going to apply it. But wetting it down and keeping it soaking wet will guide the technician through the process. Notice she's dipping her comb in the relaxer, and listen to the magic sound. Scrape, scrape, and she's wiping the tips on the paper towel. Dipping the comb, scrape, scrape, wipe the tips. This is not a technique you can learn overnight. Keep in mind, this takes a lot of practice and skills. Dip, scrape, wipe the tips, and applying lighter the roots and heavier the demarcation. Please don't try this at home without proper instructional training. If you would like to do this system, please email us at info@jasma.com and we can set up a Zoom class. Scrape, scrape, wipe. We also have an instructional video that you can purchase to show you step by step on the pre-cleans, the fillers, the virgin relaxers, and the touch-ups. Now, Claudia's been doing this since she was 17 years old. So it looks easy, but it took a lot of skills and practice to be able to control that comb, control the release relaxer, and the application. However, analyzing the hair and knowing how heavy or light, how porous, how strong, elasticity, and also the open cuticles. So we have done her retouch, We have shaped up her hair. Now we're going to fill those tips. We're going to use the Carabon. It's hydrolyzed, quaternized collagen protein designed to fill in negative sites. We have poured some in a little tint bowl with a tint brush. We're going to take it and comb it into a tail comb. Finding our negative sites, close cuticles, comb it through. That's going to fill in those negative sites. Going to continue through the rest of the head. Then we're going to dry it in a straight line. Then use our Infix 2.5 stabilizer to seal it all in. Right into the comb. Be careful not to put this on here that has closed cuticles. It will harden good hair. It's there to fill in negative sites. It's been given a positive electrical charge to fill in negative sites. It's been hydrolyzed. The molecules are smaller. I could take an egg yolk, but the molecules are too big. So you have to hydrolyze that protein, make it small enough to go in to fill into the negative sites. So now that the filler is on the negative sites, I'm going to dry it in. Making sure not to go against the cuticle layer. Always in a downward stroke. Go too hard to the touch. You can see how stiff the hair is. Because it's now stiff and filled in, just like getting a filler on your teeth or getting a filler on your nails. It's going to feel stiff. You're going to wet it down a little and apply the Infix conditioner. That's a 2.5 pH conditioner. And that will close those cuticles and seal that Carabon in. So this is Olga's finished results. We dried her under a hood dryer. So you can dry it with a hood dryer or a diffuser. And now Lola is going to style it with the blow dryer. So the first thing Lola did was put in the Revival. It's a heavy cream moisturizer, and she made sure it was around every strand to moisturize. And to seal that in, she used the soft gel Actisil to give it shine. And because of her limp skinny ends that we didn't all remove, that looks pretty thick right now because of the filler, she added some control mousse on the ends. And this is her finished results. Lola, can you blow it dry it a little so we can see the separation? Thank you. Now keep in mind she does color her hair, so she's going to color it 3 to 5 days after, so that when she gets her next touch-up, she's not going to color it again. So when she gets her next touch-up, the relaxer does not kiss peroxide. And this is Lola's creation. This is my model, Jordana. Her hair is natural. When was the last time you had a chemical, Jordana?
Many, many months ago.
Months ago or years ago?
Probably up to a year.
Up to a year ago. So we're going to be checking her open cuticles first. We're going to go to the back of the crown. Going to pull the hair out, all those hills and valleys out into a straight line. So you can see where the cuticles are closed and where they open. Relax it. Can you see the open cuticles are just about here on? So she has about 4 or 5 months of torn cuticles. This could have been either from extension braids, friction against it, a wool hat, or it could even be a wig or a scarf. So now that we know it's about 4 inches of healthy hair, we know this is going to tangle no matter what. We're going to go down to the nape and do the same thing. I'm going to pull the hair out. I'm going to put this whiteboard so you can see it. It seems like it's more torn here. It's only about 2 inches. So I would say it was a hat or wig that sat right here, that ripped here more than here. We will have to follow through with that. But if we check the hairline, we can see it's 2 inches of healthy hair down in here. And you can see at the front, basically less again, just like the back. You pull it straight out, you can see the closed cuticles, and then you can see all the torn cuticles. Again, it looks like there's the same amount as the nape, so it might be something rubbing, a hat, a tam. There you go, pulling it out, seeing it. And we're going to check the sides now. And at the sides, just like the nape, you can see your healthy cuticles and your open cuticles, very torn. So it's the same measurement at the sides and at the nape. So obviously something rubbed along in through here. Now, knowing that, the first thing we're going to do is put a pre-clean on to take all the buildup off. So we're going to apply the pre-clean. It's a chelating agent. It'll remove any heavy oils or waxes she might apply under lockdown. Just to avoid any drips, we're just going to put a cotton around to prevent any liquid going in. And when I put the pre-clean on, I'm going to be very aware of the open cuticles. I'm going to spray where the closed cuticles are, and I'm going to gently work it through to the open cuticles. Because they're open, it means it's more fragile. And I'm not going to place it close to the scalp because that hair is new and that also will be fragile. As keratin grows out of the scalp, it gets harder and harder. So the softest part of her hair is the new growth. The hardest part is the ends. But these ends are already compromised. So we're going to be putting it mainly on the mid shaft and gently squeezing it through the ends. So we have put the pre-clean under a steam cap on low heat only because of our open cuticles. I'm going to remove it. And notice we did not put the pre-clean on wet hair. The pre-clean is sitting on the mid shaft. Before the water hits it and open the cuticles even more and the buildup sticks in there, we're going to put in an anionic shampoo, which is spectral. We call that our daily shampoo because that's designed with sodium lauryl sulfate for removing buildup. We're going to keep the cuticles in a straight line, pushing that buildup out of the hair. Keeping the cuticles never rough, always smooth. And if you notice when we had it under the steam cap, we didn't twist it and put it up. Twisting and putting hair up wet is dangerous because you're just cracking those cuticles even more. So I'm working my spectral in, and then we're going to give it a light shampoo without irritating the scalp. This is going to be rinsed off. Please note we did not do the edges where it's finer. We did not put anything around the hairline, even in the front where it's a little bit finer from pulling and the open cuticles. We did not put any pre-clean on, but we certainly can put on an anionic, negatively charged shampoo. So this is the virgin application per our hair analysis. Claudette is doing the ends first, then the mid shaft, and then she'll go in and do the roots. Just like applying bleach, the relaxer works similar, where you have to do heavy, medium, and light. Because the ends are so torn and ripped, her application is not as heavy as if it was healthy. But the mid shaft is fairly heavy. Now that she's going into the new growth or the roots, she's going to do a lighter application close to the scalp. A medium application on the mid shaft. Here we go. Mid shaft is heavy because it's nice and healthy. Ends are a little bit heavy also because the keratin is now hard. It's been around for over a year or two. More difficult to penetrate and to break down. And now she's going to go into the new hair that grew out of the scalp a few months ago. And because that hair has not time to harden, she's going to be very careful in her application closer to the new hair. So if you're going to attempt this, make sure you have the right products. The Release Relaxer is designed to work on soaking wet hair and to release by degrees. However, it's just a tool. And without the proper instructions, you will not achieve the results. Notice that she's getting the release around the diameter of the strand evenly, as not to swell the cuticles on one side more than the other, which will cause roughness, tangles, and breakage. So Jordana here is still soaking wet. We apply the release relaxer on soaking wet hair because it's water-based. We have done half of her head. As you can see, her natural hair is not absorbing water. Whereas the released hair, because we release the curvature, there'll be less breakage. Because we have opened the cuticles slightly, it's now absorbing water molecules. This is not a texturizer. This takes years of training and technique to achieve the perfect results. Natural versus release relaxing. You can see the movement that she now has. The looseness will ease that curvature so there's little or no friction when she's styling her hair. So we have completed the virgin relaxer. Now we're going to apply the leave-in products to hydrate each and every strand. We're going to start off with the Revival. This is Lola, she'll be applying it. She's first wetting it, making sure the hair is open, the cuticles are open. Then she's going to go in with her Revival. She's going to use a fair amount, working it into every strand. Keep in mind, this is like putting body lotion on. So you want to get it around each and every strand. Just imagine putting body lotion all in between your toes and fingers. It must cover the entire circumference of the strand. As she works it in, section by section. This is all water-based. And if you listen to that sound of the scrunch, 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 that's locking in those water molecules. She feels there's not enough water in there. She add more, which she did. And she keep working in that product. Once she's completed that, she's going to use the Interlink leave-in conditioner. She's using it on the negative sites, those holes we saw on Jordana's hair. It has artificial polymers that's going to fill in those negative sites. And it also has a positive electrical charge that's going to cling to those negative sites. She's going to seal all of this in now with a soft gel, and that's ActiSilk. So it's going to lock all that moisture and polymer into the hair. Now, if you don't need a heavy moisturizer in the morning, you've got a light, quick touch-up with the Quench. Similar to Revival, but it has detangling qualities, and it's much lighter and easier to apply in a spray top. Listen to the sound of the hair getting hydrated.